think somebody hurt these kids. Somebody hurt them.
When Belinda Gray, the paternal grandmother of Lillian Jack
All
Sullivan,
these kids
sat
come
in
up missing
quiet
all over
resolve
Canada
and said,
and
I think
Ohio and
somebody
all
hurt
over.
these kids. I think somebody hurt them. It wasn't a theory. It wasn't panic. It was something deeper. A quiet certainty from a woman who once held those children in her arms. She didn't yell. She didn't point fingers. She didn't demand headlines. But in that moment, her voice cut through weeks of noise,
I hope
speculation,
there's
and
world
silence.
peace. Yeah, we do need
Because
world
when a
peace.
grandmother speaks with that kind of conviction, without needing to raise her voice, you stop. And you listen. It wasn't just what
Everybody
she said.
should get along.
It was how she said it.
But you know, the government is going to try to make them go to
for a
war.
long time, and was now simply speaking it out loud. This wasn't drama. This wasn't bitterness. This was what it sounds like
It's
when
scary,
someone
guys.
finally tells the truth they've known all along. Some may call it emotional. Some may dismiss it as speculation.
But if you guys will, I love you guys too. Will you please hit the like and subscribe button if you ain't already subscribed to my channel?
But watch the world with serious, curious eyes.
I just got home from work.
Someone who wasn't in the headlines, didn't chase the cameras, and didn't post online updates.
And then I'm off tomorrow, thank God. I get one day off every Monday.
Not a reporter, not a detective, but a grandmother finally breaks her silence. And the first thing she says is, I believe they were hurt. We have to stop and ask, what has she seen, what has she felt, that made her believe this so firmly, without hesitation?
All these poor little kids coming
She
up
may not
missing.
have a police report. She doesn't have
Sad.
surveillance footage. She's not here to prove a case. But what she does have is the
Hey,
things so
Joshy
many
boy.
people in this story are missing.
How are you doing this Sunday night? Good, I hope. Hello to Pete. Hello.
She sent me the article that was on Facebook showing the kids missing. I couldn't call the lady and so I waited till we got home. And I called, well, I didn't call her, I texted her. And
Yeah, it's after midnight, so it's Monday. Thank God I'm off. That's the only day I get off.
they've been missing since.
And then I'm at KFC slaving, cleaning up everybody else's mess, or making, prepping food, and
I'm assuming that they find
yeah, it could be better.
You
Mine
expect
could
some
too.
things in life to come with a phone call, a knock on the door, a voice, a pause, a moment of human care. But for Belinda Gray,
What do you guys think about them kids that come up missing in Canada? The Lily and Jack.
Missing was from a Facebook post. She sent me the article that was on Facebook showing the kids missing. No
I hope
words,
they find them alive.
no personal message from the children's mother. No contact from the police. No effort from anyone close to the children to say, Belinda, you need to sit down.
But yeah, I wanted to get on and say hi to everybody. I ain't been on in a minute because I've been trying to work and trying to get things done.
A cold
Trying to better
stream of
myself.
words meant for strangers, not for a grandmother. Now pause for a moment. Really imagine that. You're a grandparent. You've loved these children. You've rocked them to sleep. You kissed their cheeks and wrapped them in blankets.
Sorry guys for
And then
yawning.
one day you find out, not from family, not from friends, but from a headline shared through a screen. That's not just heartbreaking. That's dehumanizing. It tells us something that no report or press briefing ever will. It tells us that Belinda was never part of the loop. She wasn't included. She wasn't considered. Why? There's a particular kind of silence that hurts more than words. It's the silence that says, you don't need to know. You're not part of this anymore. And what does that mean?
I don't know how anybody can hurt a kid.
But for the investigation,
Or,
if she had to learn from a public post, just like a stranger would,
or anything that's wrong. You lay down and play and you have them, you should take care of
but
them.
it speaks volumes about who was included in
That's
the process.
the way I feel. I don't know about anybody else.
And when someone is left out from the very beginning, it becomes easy, too easy, to label them as uninvolved. Because you don't find out your grandchildren are missing from Facebook. Not unless someone, or
between 3 and 3:30 in the morning, a couple of cars pulled into the driveway. The lights went out. I'm a fairly light sleeper, so I see the cars pull in, so I knew what it was. So they come inside.
Can't find my tunnel clippers.
And they wanted me to wake Cody up, and they wanted to know when was the last time he had seen the kids, and that they were just making sure that the kids weren't here. And then they left.
Let that sit for a moment. Just hours after Belinda finds out from Facebook that her grandchildren are missing, just hours after the panic begins to take shape, RCMP shows up at her door. But not with answers, not with guidance, not even with human warmth. They came with suspicion. No one said it out loud. But the message was clear. We're looking at you. We think you might know something you're not saying. And so the kitchen, the heart of so many homes, became the setting for something else. Interrogation. For Belinda, it wasn't just unexpected, it was disorienting. She had barely processed what was happening. Her voice hadn't even caught up to the fear in her chest. But already, the questions were coming.
So what are you guys
Where are
on?
the kids? When did you see them last? Are they here? As if Cody had them tucked away in a closet. As if this family, already shaken, was now responsible for justifying their innocence. And in that moment, something shifted. Belinda wasn't just a grandmother anymore. Cody wasn't just a father with a past. They were now subjects. Targets. Not because of evidence, but because of proximity. Because when children go missing, and there are no immediate answers, the search for truth can start to feel a lot like the search for someone to blame. And that night, blame knocked on Belinda's door, not with anger, not with violence, but with uniforms and flashlights.
Uniforms and flashlights.
And sometimes, that kind of silence hurts more than shouting ever could.
So we showed up Saturday morning, me and my sister, and we met up with my daughter, and we started, well, I asked Malaya, I said, where do you know the kids? Nobody knows the kids with their mom. Where do you think you want to go play over the yard? What direction do they usually like to explore? And she said, well, they always play up in the little woods tree on the side of the walkway. So we'll start from that point, we'll work our way in.
It was the morning after. The first light had just begun to creep across the trees, and while others were still waking up to the news, Belinda Gray was already on her way. She didn't wait for an invitation. She didn't ask for permission. She showed up, like any grandmother would, ready to search. No cameras, no reporters, just her sister, and a deep, unshakable fear. One of the first things she did, she
Sorry,
turned
guys.
to Malaya, the children's mother, and asked something simple, something obvious. Where do your kids usually go to play? Because who knows a child's habits better than their mother? Where do they wander? What direction do they go? What path do they love? That should have been easy to answer. But according to Belinda, it wasn't. Well, they always play up in the little woods right on the side, Malaya said. That was it. No urgency, no pointing. No, let me show you. Just a vague gesture, a shrug toward the trees. And for a moment, everything stopped. Because when your children are missing, when the world around you is falling apart, when every second matters, you don't wave your hand and step back. You leave. You run. You point to the exact rock they sit on, the bush they hide behind, the path they always take. You say, they love this spot. You say, start here. But that didn't happen. Instead, what Belinda remembers is the stillness. No clear direction. No rush. No map of childhood memories laid out before the searchers. And that felt
I don't
off.
know how mom
Not
could.
because it proved anything, but because it didn't feel like a mother looking for her children. It felt like someone watching others look. And so Belinda did what Malaya didn't.
So do you guys have any plans?
The vague one Malaya had gestured toward, and began searching. Through thick brush, calling names.
What do you guys think happened to Jack and Lily?
And it raises a quiet question, one that lingers even after the search. Was the uncertainty real, or was it rehearsed?
If they were not fast, we could see them within 10 minutes. If we didn't see them, they certainly weren't there.
It's just one sentence, but it stops you cold. If they were in those woods, we would have found them in 10 minutes.
Not
No
necessarily,
hesitation,
unless they lied about the timeline.
no maybe, or perhaps. Just a calm, confident truth from someone who was there. Belinda wasn't speculating from a distance. She wasn't behind a desk, drawing red lines on a map. She had boots on the ground, voice cracking from calling their name. Hands stretched from branches, eyes scanning every patch of earth, and she found nothing. Not a sock, not a toy, not a footprint. Not a single echo of Lily's laugh or Jack's little footsteps. She searched. She listened. And she knew. They weren't there. That's the thing about instinct. It's not always loud. Sometimes it settles in slowly.
Guys, I'm gonna get off here, I guess. There's only 2 people in here. 2 people with light.
That certainty came not from what she saw, but from what she didn't. These were not endless woods. Not thousands of acres. This was a patch of trees behind a home. A place small enough to move quickly if children had truly wandered in. And Belinda's voice carries the weight of experience. She knows children. She knows how far they wander. How long they cry when scared. How easily they leave traces. But this time, there was nothing. Just stillness. A stillness that didn't feel like hiding. It felt like absence. So when Belinda says they should have been found in 10 minutes, she's not exaggerating. She's not hoping. She's stating what she knows. Not from theory, but from the aching silence of a search that came up empty. And that kind of silence doesn't lie. Because in a real search,
Love you,
expect to
Michaela.
find something. Even if it's terrible. Even if it breaks you. You find something. But when nothing turns up, no trace, no noise, no path, you have to wonder, were they ever there at all?
Puppy lover, hey, how you doing tonight?
Very just flat, monotone. But Malaya's very soft-spoken anyway. And he's not usually excitable. I thought that made her a really great mom. She was an excellent mom. She never raised her kids, her boys and the kids, and it was all together. What did mommy say? And I used to think now that everybody's meant to be a mom and a her.
Sometimes it's not what people say, but how they say it. When Belinda Gray stepped into that home the day after her grandchildren vanished, she wasn't looking for answers. She was looking for
I gotta bleach it. It's
No,
where
I clean it out every
for a
day.
shared
it
sense
was
of
clean.
Clean that spot.
But what she found instead,
Lock my door back.
not the silence of grief, not the silence of someone.
She's getting her and Charlotte likes messing with the cats.
This was something colder. She was very non-emotional, very flat, monotone. That's how Belinda describes Malaya, the mother of Lily and Jack. And that description carries more weight than it might seem, because Belinda wasn't a stranger. She had known Malaya, welcomed her
Hey,
into the
Zach.
family, praised her as a gentle, attentive mom, a sweetheart, she once
How
told
you
her.
doing this morning?
She remembers how Malaya spoke softly to the kids. Now, Lily, what did Mommy say? Never raising her voice, always patient. I used to think if anyone was meant to be a mom, Belinda says, it was her. That memory of kindness, of warmth, of natural maternal instinct makes what came after feel even more jarring. Because the woman Belinda saw now wasn't that mother. There was no panic
If
in
you
her
all will,
voice,
please like
no
and
tears,
subscribe to my channel.
no racing heartbeat, just stillness. And in that stillness, something felt missing. Not just the children, but the woman Belinda thought she knew. Now it's easy to explain these things away. Shock can take many forms. Some people shut down, some go numb.
Why would you do that to my dog?
Belinda wasn't just the behavior in that room. It was the contrast. The change from warmth
There she goes.
from softness to
Something.
calm. And when a person's entire emotional presence
What do you want?
at the exact moment their children do, you have to ask, is that trauma?
Guys, I'm gonna get off here. I'll get back on tomorrow sometime. Have a good night.
She still calls you out of time. She still remembers the
Peace out, guys.
F-150.
he still feels